We're here today at Tsukuba Circuit, 90 minutes north of Tokyo, to race in a very special event. It's the 22nd running of the Mazda MX-5 4-hour endurance race, and today there will be 23 cars racing. Each one represents a different media in Japan. Now what's special about this race is it's an endurance race, which means we have to race for 4 hours. We have to manage our fuel supply of only 90 litres while maintaining a very fast average lap speed. But with heavy rain expected from the back end of a typhoon, race strategies were going to be critical. This driver has been competing here since 2001 with mixed results, but racing this year in the Motor Trend MX-5 demanded nothing less than the most talented drivers and pit crew I could find. In a race where some magazine teams invite professional drivers, like Japan Super GT racers Nobuteru Taniguchi and Seiji Ara, ex-IndyCar pilot Hidechi Matsuda, and the Drift King himself Keiichi Tsuchiya, we decided to lean on a combination of Tsukuba Circuit expertise and Nürburgring endurance racing. Now let's take a quick look at the car. From 1989, the year the MX-5 was first launched, Mazda has been preparing around 25 MX-5s of identical spec for this once-a-year event and offering cars to magazines, websites and TV show teams. The car we're using in Japan is a 2-litre model generating 170 horsepower with a 5-speed manual gearbox, roll cage, racing seat and a Takara 4-point racing harness. It also gets Endless brand brake pads and Bridgestone's very grippy Potenza RE11 tyres. It just so happens that the drivers in the Mazda pit next door know a thing or two about the MX-5. They're building the next generation model, so we decided to see if we could scrounge any juicy details on the new car. Starting with Mr. MX-5, Nobuhiro Yamamoto.
コンセプトであるね、乗る喜び、使う楽しみ、いろんなファン、レースを楽しむ、で使い切る楽しみ、そういったものをやっぱり作る人たちが理解しないと、お客様と同じ気持ちにないんです。
何か言えますけど、エンジンもちょっと小さくなるんですか、今と比べて。まあ、
みんなそういうことを言ってますので、まあ、みんなが言う方向とはね、僕たち違う方向に行くとはとても考えてないんで。
なるほどね、前に人がいると。Next, we cornered the driving force behind Mazda's Skyactiv technology.
ロードスターにおいてもスカイアクティブテクノロジーですから、軽量化もやらなくちゃいけないですし、それからエンジンのリニアリティも必要ですし、トランスミッションのリニアリティも必要です。そこだけで想像していただければどんな車になるか。で
内装も
やっぱりこうエンジンの回転のスムースな上がり方とか、そこに出てくるそのトルクの出方とか、そのリニアリティとか、ブレーキを踏んだ後の車の動きだとか、そういうすべてこう一連の動きがやっぱり普通の車でできたらすごく気持ちいいんじゃないかな。
Also driving for Mazda is the company's head of design.
その中でもやっぱり一番大事な車だと思って MX-5 っていうヘリテージのある車にトランスレートしていくかっていうのがものすごく悩みで、
まだ決まってない。
決まってない。まだいろんな方向
まだ決まってないですか。
考えられます。決まってないなんて言っちゃいけないの。でも
Tsukuba Circuit is Japan's most popular racetrack and has become known around the world through Gran Turismo. But just in case you're not familiar with it, let's have a quick recap. At the drivers' pre-race briefing, over 100 drivers listened on as the organisers went over the rules. You can put your roof up if it rains, no overtaking before the rolling start, a 3-minute mandatory pit stop for refueling, and a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit in pit lane. Just outside the briefing room, we asked the Drift King what the MX-5 means to him. 土屋さんにとってはロードスターとはどんな車ですか？
大人のおもちゃです。
そうですか。
面白い。もうすごい面白い。
もう一番最初から。
もう最初からですよ。1600が出て1800が出て2リッターになってもずっと楽しい。
ドリフトにも最高ですよね。
のドリフトエントリーには最高。
そうでしょ、やっぱり。もうこれでもうドリフトもレースも覚えるというそういう車ですね。
だからどっちもできる楽しい車。
なるほどね。今日はね。With morning practice out of the way, it was time for our ace driver Teruaki Kato to see what he could do in the 10-minute qualifying session. After 5 minutes, Kato had posted a quick time of 1 minute 10.6 seconds, just half a second behind pole getter Taniguchi with a 9.9. That was good enough for 8th on the grid. But before the race got underway, Mazda wanted to celebrate a milestone in their racing heritage. And of course we have another very special treat today, the winner of the 1991 Le Mans 24-hour race, the Mazda 787B, which is the one and only Japanese car to win the legendary French race. And who better to drive the car than 29-time Le Mans racer Yojiro Terada?
レースはね、この車は難しくなかった。もう完璧にプログラムされてたから、その通り走ったら勝てたの。
あ、そうですか。
で、勝つ時ってそういうもんですよ。
なるほど。
もうプログラム通りで今までなんで勝てなかったのかと思うぐらい。
でも故障しなかったとかやっぱり全然信頼性がいいですね。
何のトラブルもない。
やっぱりロータリーのこういうところ。Energized by the 787B's screaming rotary engine, I headed for the start.
Okay, here we go.
As I slipped in behind the steering wheel and belted up, ominous clouds on the horizon threatened a very wet start. At exactly 2 p.m, the green flag was waved and we were off on our warm-up lap. Starting from 8th on the grid, it was my job to pick up some places and try to keep us in the top 5. I decided to push from the rolling start and see how far I could get. Heavy traffic into the first corner and I narrowly missed the Le Volant car as it goes wide. But I pass him down the inside on the next lap and we move up to 6th. Coming onto the home straight on lap 3, I've got my sights on the hot version and Tipo cars. But not able to use maximum revs makes overtaking a real challenge. Generating slightly higher revs out of corner 1, I managed to squeeze past the hot version car and into 5th place. On the next lap, we passed the rev speed car and into 4th place. Our pit crew boss is concerned about excessive fuel consumption, but I assure them I'm not using maximum revs. Coming out of the second hairpin bend, the Tipo car and I maintain a higher exit speed to get past the engine car and up into 3rd place. I pushed the 2-litre in 3rd gear to the red line for the first time, squeezed past the Tipo car and into 2nd place. Begging for permission from the pit to push to the red line one more time, I slide past the Auto Sport car to take the race lead. I held on for 3 laps before the pit told me to throttle back and let Kumi Sato, Japan's fastest woman driver, pass me in the Pink Panther car. Letting off the gas and allowing Sato to pass, I felt like Barrichello being told by the Ferrari pit to let Schumacher pass and take the lead. But this is an endurance race and we must conserve our fuel supply. In fact, I was using a little too much gas and the car graphic car was bearing down on me as well. So the pit suggested I let him pass too and hold 3rd place until the first pit stop. As number 2 driver Ishikawa suited up, it was time to head in for our first pit stop. As I pitted in the 48th minute, rain was starting to fall. I'd been lucky with a dry track, Ishikawa's wet weather skills were going to be tested. Yep, raise the roof. With the rain coming, we don't want slippery pedals. Also being tested were the seat adjustments from my 6'3" frame to Ishikawa's 5'8". When he pitted out, we were in 7th place. Just after his first lap, the heavens opened up and forced drivers to peel back lap times by about 8 seconds. With cars sliding everywhere, Ishikawa kept his cool and stayed away from potential hazards. When a car went off into the gravel trap at the last corner leading to a safety car period, he got stuck behind some slower competitors, forcing him to drop down a few places. When the safety car entered the pits after 3 laps, the race was on again, and Ishikawa fought hard to regain some of the places he'd lost. As the refueling team donned their racing suits and readied the 20-litre gasoline can for our first fuel stop, Ishikawa got us back up to 14th place after initially falling to 17th. Wanting to hand over the car in one piece on a wet track to number 3 driver Yasuoka, Ishikawa was happy to maintain 14th place. With drivers allowed a maximum time behind the wheel of 50 minutes at any one time, Ishikawa pitted in his 48th minute. Given a mandatory fuel stop of 3 minutes, there's no need to rush the driver change. Nothing like a Formula 1 fuel stop, Tsukuba Circuit refueling is a very labour-intensive operation. We started with 50 litres in the tank, now we've just added another 20. We were in 13th place when Yasuoka exited pit lane, as half a dozen other teams had pitted for driver changes too. In his second lap, a passing shower made conditions very slippery, leading to the race's first big off, when the Luvalunt car span out right in front of Yasuoka on the last corner. Luckily he didn't hit the barrier, but the safety car session would last for 4 laps. Well, the safety car's just come out, which means we all have to slow down and rethink our strategies. So it's thrown a spanner in the works, but we'll see what we can do. As the pack rounded the right-hand sweeper for the last time, Yasuoka positioned himself for the restart. Released from the shackles of the safety car session, Yasuoka used his wet weather experience and the fuel he'd saved to push hard and pick up as many places as possible. Then came the passing manoeuvre of the day. Comfortable with the Bridgestone's grip levels, Yasuoka used his faster exiting speed coming out of the last right-hander and late braking approaching the first corner to pass 3 cars at once. In one foul swoop, he got us from 9th up to 6th. Professional drivers are given handicaps that allow them just 25 minutes in the car at any one time. Yasuoka headed for the pit as number 4 driver Saito got ready for his 50-minute stint. He knew that the groundwork had been laid to challenge for the podium. Obeying the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, Yasuoka loosens his belt and pushes back his seat ready for Saito. Qualifying driver Kato, who decided to give up his stint and focus on race strategies, helped Saito into the tight 4-point harness. After taking over the driving duties from Yasuoka, Saito returned to the race in 8th position. As much as endurance racing is about sound strategies, it's also about taking a few risks and educated guesses here and there. Anticipating more rain, which would no doubt mean another safety car session and more saved fuel, he pushed hard from his first lap. Able to carry a higher speed through the corners, he quickly picked up several places. Then on lap 120, Saito gets one back for us as he passes the Pink Panther car on the second hairpin. Putting total trust in the pit crew, who say we have enough fuel to push to the red line, Saito extracts every last horsepower he can out of the 4-cylinder engine. One of the pit crew has been keeping an eye on the radar and tells Saito that we can expect some rain within 30 minutes. So in the last few minutes of his first stint, he passes one more car before heading for the pits. Having got us up into third place, it's time for our second refueling stop. As Yasuoka slipped into the seat for his second 25-minute stint, the heavens opened up again, forcing the pit crew to hasten their refueling. Saito had done a great job to get us from 8th up to 3rd, but he still had one more stint to finish the race. When Yasuoka rejoined the race, we were in 7th place. The typhoon was playing havoc with the conditions, exposing us to bright sun showers 1 minute, to dark wet patches the next, and then back to blinding sun showers. When a car blocked Yasuoka down the inside, forcing him onto the grass, he set himself up to overtake that same car on the next lap and said thank you very much as he squeezed by with a higher exit speed. Yasuoka focused his passing moves on Dunlop Corner, where he used extra exit speed out of the right-hander and late braking coming into the second hairpin to squeeze past 4 cars. When he finally pitted in his 24th minute, we were in 3rd place and Japan's biggest car website, Team Car View, had taken the lead. As 4 cars pit at once, the sun peeks through the typhoon. Jumping behind the wheel for his second stint, Saito knew he had enough fuel to push to the checkered flag. It was then that he showed us his special talent, one-handed drifting at 60 miles per hour on a wet track. We were in for an exciting finish as Saito traded fastest lap times with the likes of Mazda and the Drift King. From Saito's race cam, we can see how intense the racing had become as a couple of cars actually connected briefly down the back straight and then narrowly missed each other on the first turn. Any team with a professional racing driver will have that pilot in the car for the last stint. That's why the last 30 minutes is always the most exciting. Check this out as the Drift King shows us how hot the brake rotors can get on an MX-5. On lap 146, we move into 2nd place. Meanwhile, Saito's got the pedal to the metal trying to catch the Car View MX-5 while rival teams battle for positions in the corners. Then at 6 PM, as Motor Trend enters its last lap, the Car View MX-5 rounds the last corner to take the checkered flag. After 10 years of racing in this event, the podium finish was particularly sweet and proved that a talented pit crew with experienced race strategies and a little bit of luck are the icing on the cake to a team of capable drivers.
Great job!
本当に頑張りました。
ありがとう。
もう超プッシュしてた。
As Le Mans racer Yojiro Terada said, when you have the right formula, getting on the podium can be easy. I think we might invite him to race with us next year.